blau, wenn ich in deine Augen schau und ich frag dabei, bist auch du so treu wie das Blau deiner Augen, ein Blick nur in dein Angesicht.
Can you hear me?
Und ringsum blüht
Hello,
vergib mein
Joe.
Licht, ja die ganze
Incoming.
Welt macht du süße Frau, so blau,
Oh,
so blau,
can you hear me now?
so blau.
Joe, can you hear me? All right, folks. I know we're live. Bear with me. We're figuring it out. We are figuring it out. Connecting to Frau Joe. We are connecting. I'm here in Berlin. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, Joe. Hello? Okay, I'm not sure if we should continue this mission. We might have to abandon it. Hello, hello?
Yes.
There you go.
Hello?
That's how it works.
Let's go with this then.
All right, let me cut to the...
The Skype is not very good.
Is it then? All right, let's cut straight to the live feed here. Where are we? Okay.
Hey, we are in 1920s Berlin, mein Herr.
Oh, there we are. We are. Okay. Gotta turn the music down. What an unprofessional stream. No, I
What?
have music here. No, this is
Oh,
this is
right.
my stream.
Stop! You're very loud. Don't be so loud. Calm down.
You can turn me down.
You think I can?
I know that's what she
Okay.
said. Hello there and welcome to the Drax Files Radio Hour with Joe Yardley. My name is Draxter Dupre and I'm in fact here with Joe Yardley in Second Life. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
And where are we here right now? What is this?
This is the teleport area of 1920s Berlin.
We are in 1920s Berlin. And
Yes,
for
well,
the folks
almost.
who are watching who are listening to this on the audio only podcast, we're walking through Berlin today and seeing what's new and what's the occasion, Joe. Is it really true that Berlin has its 50-year anniversary?
Well, it feels like 50, but it's 10.
It's 10 years in Second Life. That's amazing.
10 years, yes. 10
Mhm.
years of a very well working historical role play community that's very vibrant and active and has been almost since day one.
You said something off the air when I said, Berlin may have more users than High Fidelity ever had. Then I said, well,
I did not say
no,
that.
I said that, but then I said, at least I have a lot of people coming to Sensor Atlas hopping, and then you said, you have more people than Atlas hopping per week every day in the Keller, something
Well,
like that.
yeah, I don't know how many people go atlas hopping with you, but we have about, we have between 10 and 20 people every day coming over for a drink in my bar. And that's not even counting, the special events and parties.
Right. No, I mean this is really amazing. This is one of the places that shows how community works. Do you know how many people you have that are renting right now? And I mean you have a whole slew of different things, different offerings like small apartments and
Mm-hmm.
villas.
I'm not quite sure, but it's close to 100 in one
Wow.
region. And I know that because there's a limit to how many people can rest in a region, and that is 100. And when that happens, certain scripts stop working.
Hmm.
And I've already begged Second Life to change that, but they can't or they won't. So now and then I get alerts saying that there are more than 100 people resting in my sim, and that's why scripts stop working.
Is
We're
this
breaking Second Life.
is this in fact only one sim? I
It
think it's
is
two. No?
one region that is a city, and then we have three Tiergarten Park regions that are homesteads.
Hmm. And
But
homesteads
that's
again, just refresh my memory because I've been in Sansar for way too long.
homesteads are regions, but they don't have as many prims, and not that many people can live in them at the same time, and they're also a little cheaper.
And that's why you designed it as the Tiergarten, which of course is more well, it's a park and you can stroll around,
Yes.
and so naturally
There's
it's going to
just
be less.
there's about 5 people or families renting in each of those homestead regions instead of almost 100 in the main Berlin region.
And you know what? The performance, I just want to say this, people for the radio, the performance here is really wonderful. I'm zooming out, I'm flying around a little bit. I have very acceptable performance, and yes, just
Well, we're not in the city yet.
yeah, we should we should go there. But before we go, just a little wrap up, and because in the context of Berlin, I mean, 10 years is significant as we see now, right now, I mean, the longevity of SL as a whole, and then the longevity of Berlin is quite amazing. And I mean, we talk about this all the time. It is a testament to what virtual worlds do best, which is provide a sense of presence, a sense of community, and all that kind of good stuff. What do you, if you were the consultant from McKinsey, let's say,
Ooh.
who could have been brought into high fidelity at the last minute, and advise them what, and I know I'm putting you on the spot, you've not been in high fidelity long, but you've looked at it from the sidelines. I mean, we
Mm-hmm.
know that high fidelity has laid off a third or 25% of its
Yeah.
staff just recently, and they
Hmm.
completely downsized or I think completely stopped hosting domains, as they
Ouch.
call it, domains for that they host. So that doesn't mean that the private domains are obviously still there, but they were hosting quite a few domains with concerts and with sort of
Right.
tutorials and stuff like that, which is a staffing issue. So what would you have advised them to
My
prevent that mayhem, that purge, I guess.
my advice for every virtual world, and that includes Second Life and Sunstar and everyone that's out there and has been out there, is to make it as easy as possible for people to create as quickly as possible.
Hmm.
Because the only reason I'm in Second Life and have been for 10 years is because I can build what I want. And people who don't want to build, they want to visit something that I have built. I can't build in any of the other virtual worlds. It's that simple.
Hmm. But okay, I mean, I know what you're saying, but one of the things that I learned in a marketing course that I took over the weekend is they always say don't use yourself as the normative example. You know, you're making a mistake if
Yeah,
you
but
look at
I only know myself.
right. And I'm actually not. I'm saying you actually did did that. You did it a little bit, I would say, because you say, I'm interested because I can't build.
But
But
let,
I
let,
I
let
know
me
you.
let me let me
Yeah,
let me
go ahead.
change that.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking about myself. I'm talking about myself, but I'm also talking about the 100 people who spent all their time here. I'm talking about the people who have lived here for many years. People who have lived here. Some of them have lived here for 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the hundreds and thousands of people that have visited Berlin over the years. So I'm not just talking from my point of view, my perspective. I'm talking about the perspective of the people who keep coming here, because they also say to me, some of them have said, the only reason I'm still in Second Life is Berlin,
Mm-hmm.
or the only reason I stayed in Second Life is because I discovered Berlin. So it's not just me. I'm looking at a successful project, a successful product in a virtual world that works because I could build whatever I wanted.
Right.
I mean,
And
if I was the
yeah.
only one enjoying it, then it would only be my perspective.
No, I was actually just acknowledging that what you said was, in fact, you're also looking at the bigger picture, because if you weren't attracted to this whatever platform, then there would be no content for other people who are not ready to build for whatever reason, to enjoy and to engage with. And that's
Exactly.
this
Yeah.
catch 22 though. How do
And
you
people keep saying that it's not it's not the builders you have to attract. It's not the Linden Lab, for instance, keeps saying that not everybody builds, and
Yeah, exactly.
they've used that to sell Sansar. They say only a few people create, which is absolutely true. But no, looking at Second Life, you can see what happens if everyone can create.
That's
And
right.
no matter, and it worked, and it is still the only successful virtual world out there that is
Hmm.
so big and so old and keeps going and going and going. What does this world have that none of the other worlds have? Easy, easy ability to build. And even
Hmm.
in Second Life, people have been moaning and complaining for years about how difficult it is and how high the learning curve is. But it is easier than all the others. That says something about how complicated the others are, right?
Absolutely. And I would also say that if you say, well, it's certainly true statistically, and there's a lot of data, not everybody builds. I mean, it's the same old thing. You're sitting
Yep,
around the
yep.
campfire. There's 10 people. One guy will play the guitar, and 9 people will listen. That's fine. I'm not
But
going to
that
get
one
in.
guy needs to have a guitar.
Well,
Someone needs to make a
exactly.
guitar for him.
That's
So
that's
if
right. And also,
if he can't have a guitar, he's not going to play.
exactly. Oh, wow, Joe, I'm really surprised that you know so much about hippies. I thought you detest them.
People were playing guitar long before there were hippies, especially in Germany.
The guitar and hippies is kind of like the swastika and Hitler, I guess.
What?
Okay, okay, I'm not gonna go there. No, I mean the swastika was a symbol for the sun, but then the Nazis ruined them. I was just gonna say like the hippies ruined the
Yeah, but
guitar.
you've had yet hippies in 1920s Berlin and
Right.
before, the
Uh,
Wandervogels who would walk around, sing songs in the nature and be naked. Ugh.
but I was gonna say then, of course, then the thing that we always talk about is that
Yes.
then the platform provider needs to create the stuff. If the platform provider makes it, and
Yeah, but you can't. You can't because
that's really the
that's
huge
the
problem.
problem.
They don't want
Yes.
to
If
build it.
if if you
Hmm.
if you want a nightclub, a modern 2019 style nightclub, no problem. You can do that in many virtual worlds because the stuff is there. You can buy it and you can install it and you're done. But that's why we have hundreds and thousands of nightclubs in Second Life, and 90% of those vanish after a couple of
This
weeks.
is so interesting that you say that because we just released a Sansar video about 2077, which is sort of a cyberpunk city, and it's incredibly well built by a German guy who is a
Mm-hmm.
professional. He works for a game company in the north, and he's incredibly skilled. It's a wonderful place,
Yeah.
and so the video comes out, and the first comment on the videos, of course, like, oh, this looks really cool. I come from Second Life. But every time I go to 2077, nobody's there. And again, I mean, this is such a no-brainer for us, or for should be for anybody, that these places have to be filled with life, which means somebody needs to manage. Organize, manage, and then keep going with events basically, and that's a tough gig. It's a labor-intensive endeavor, and but that's also the issue of just synchronous virtual worlds. I mean, it's so interesting that Second Lifers now say, when they come to Sansa, they say the same thing that non-Second Lifers say about Second Life, which is there's nobody ever there.
Yeah, but that's another problem. I You can't spend all your time in Second Life or a virtual world like I do, every hour, at least every an hour a day for the last decade, if you don't love what you've got where you are. There are people in Berlin who work there, spend lots of time there because they love the place, and that only happens when you can build something that's unique, that is special, that is exactly how you imagine it, or as close as possible. If you, for instance, pretend you are a regular virtual world user, what of your basement in Sansar have you built yourself, created yourself?
Well, that's a good question. Absolutely nothing.
There you go.
Absolutely. Actually, well, the audio, I recorded the audio and I designed the audio and I implemented it. And there's a lot of spatial stuff, but I know what you're saying. But
You're lucky.
w-
You're
w- I-
lucky because you know a lot of people, and
yeah,
people are willing to make stuff for you as you like it.
actually, they're
If you
chained up in the basement right now. These people get to work. No, but look,
even you would not even have your own avatar yet in Sansar. You would not have the avatar looking the way you want him to look, right?
that's true, but I could do an approximation by now, and you know why. And again, I'm not arguing with you. I'm completely in agreement with you.
Hmm.
This is a huge limitation. But you know what I could have
Yeah.
done? And there are people who are doing it. There are people who are building modular things that you can assemble. A lot of them are free on the Sansar store. And I've also visited. We have people in the community who are incredibly creative with pre-existing stuff based on templates. And I know what you're going to say. You're saying, well, yeah, but you need very specific things to create um, a
Yes.
replica of an historic place. You're absolutely right. It's not just some fantasy thing. There are
But
actual
even if I wanted to recreate my home as it looks in real life,
right.
I 99% of the things in that home or that garden or the way it looks, I would not be able to find in any virtual world or recreate in any virtual world.
So this is something that I'm on the record being concerned about. I want to get a little bit beyond this topic because I think it's
Yeah,
super important.
let's go.
But wait, no, no, no. I just want to say that let's put a pin in this. Let's please keep discussing this, and I would like to have discussions about that because I am concerned about a slight reinforcing or keeping the status quo that Second Life tried to destroy and successfully in creative destruction did destroy, which is the dichotomy of creative people versus consumers, which I don't like.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was Philip Rosedale's original vision. I mean, he used to say
well,
this all the time.
we came very close to the same thing happening in Second Life, and I think a lot of people still think that it did, but it didn't. And that's
I
when
think,
Mesh
yeah, when
came.
Mesh came,
I
and I,
mean,
yeah,
yeah, if
correct.
I did not know about, Mesh in-world tools, I would have been in trouble. Berlin would not have looked the way it does now because I can't use 3D software. I just can't. I haven't got the time to learn it. So this could have ruined Second Life for me, but it didn't
hmm
because someone invented an in-world tool. It's that
And
simple.
last word on, not the last word, but just
Today.
to wrap this on Sensor, I had a discussion with Torley, who everybody knows from Linden Lab, and Torley shared some of these concerns early on. I think we talked about this when Sensor just came into public open beta, where I said, a lot of people may be discouraged. But Torley made a good point. He said, you know what, the render engine is so sophisticated, and everybody can use the lights and the audio and just play around and put stuff and assemble it and arrange it
Mm-hmm.
to get started, and that will entice people to dig a little bit deeper.
Absolutely.
Again, I mean,
Absolutely.
I would love to see, frankly, it as simple as drawing on into the world. That to me would be
Mm-hmm.
right, like you draw into the world or you drag a picture in it and the algorithm makes the model. You take a picture of a building in real life Berlin, let's say, or a gate, and then the
Yeah.
algorithm makes a model out of it, stuff like that. That would really be amazing to.
I'm sure that it won't be long before we can do all those things in
I
the
mean,
other
even
virtual
from
worlds.
historical photos, I mean, I'm struggling with
Mm-hmm.
a project about my family members who fled from what is now Poland when the Russians came
Yeah.
in January
Mm-hmm.
1945, and I want to recreate that. Want to recreate that village and
Yeah,
uh,
not a
the
problem in Second Life.
exactly. And in Sansa, it's I was talking to Rag and say, hey,
Yeah.
can you build a train? Well, yeah, for $3,000, sure I can. No,
Yeah, see,
he
that's
didn't
the
name that
problem.
price, but that's really how much a good model would be. And but yeah, but then it would also look really good. But then it would be a custom job that, of course,
Yeah, but nobody can afford it.
nobody can afford that custom job.
And even if you could, there's no way to make that money back.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
what do you,
Well,
how are you going?
unless I would have like a museum concept, which I don't. It's like a family
No,
project,
yeah,
like
but
something I
very
could.
few exactly. But even if you made it a public exhibit, because I would like to see it because it sounds interesting, but I'm not going to pay to visit it. I mean, if I visit it and like it, I may leave a few coins in a tip jar, as people do in Second Life. But you're never going to make back $3,000 or even a couple of hundred.
Well, that's another discussion
Have
because
you been to Verdun, the Verdun Museum
no, in
in Second Life? Oh,
Verdun, isn't it Verdun?
no, that's a place in France.
Ah,
I'll send you a link. It's one of the best. They had a Titanic exhibit a while ago. It's a wonderful museum. I bet you know it. I'll
okay.
send you the
Yeah,
landmark.
send me landmark. Look, don't you think that there will be, because this is another discussion about the that people are not willing to pay for art or certain things, and for others they do. I mean, the extreme example would be like I'm downloading my music illegally because I don't have any money, but I'm gonna buy the new iPhone X for $1,000. So they have that mind, but it's that value judgment, and I think that if people value an historic exhibit in VR, I hope that they would pay for it like a small fee to go in or
Yeah,
something.
no, not to go in. They may leave a bit of money afterwards.
Hmm.
But
On
do
a
you know
voluntary basis.
Do you know any Sims in Second Life you would pay to visit without seeing it first, without knowing what it is?
Yeah, but you would do a trailer. I mean, come on. If you go to Luxembourg, then and there's a museum and it's €5, and that
Yeah,
museum is if of interest of historic items, then you would pay these €5, no?
yes. But if I'm on the internet and someone says, "Come and see this," I wouldn't.
And that's a much larger uphill battle to
But
reintroduce.
that's why Berlin works. Berlin doesn't. I mean, I've got
Yeah,
plenty of tip
Berlin
jars.
works because you are getting the income from that's genius, from the renters, people who are basically, it's
Yeah,
almost like a Patreon concept, but people
and the
could actually
bar.
live. Yeah.
They're all a bunch of alcoholics, so I get a lot of money at the bar as well.
Yeah, so but see, this is a fascinating model. So if you're
Which
basically
also is not yet possible in Sansar or High Fidelity.
that's gonna come very soon because Linden Lab is already able to charge entrance, and so they will roll out renting and other things, being able to
Yes,
do that.
but then you
Absolutely,
have tenants who can't decorate their own home.
it will come. It will come.
Yes, yeah.
You should watch it closely. You're already able to res things with simple scripts. I mean, they have to be prearranged, but that permission thing is on the
Uh-huh.
roadmap. There,
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
you will be surprised how fast the things are being added now. It's unbelievable. They took a long time building the foundation, and they're adding things in rapid fire speed, and it's quite amazing.
Yeah,
So
but
they're not
and
look, they're not stupid. They know exactly that the permission
of course,
system.
and when it happens, I'll come back.
Yeah.
Also, when I get my new internet. Because can you imagine how long it would last for something like 1920s Berlin to load in Sansar?
Yeah, about a week or so. You might as well go to a bunch of museums in that time. In real life, you could go to real life
You
Berlin
can
and
go
back.
to Berlin.
You go to Berlin and you come back and then it's loaded.
Almost.
I mean, but
Are we going into the city, or
yeah,
just
yeah,
gonna stand here all the
we're
time?
going right. Well, we're going right now. Actually, my events in
Okay.
I have an event in Sansa. It's called Noob Hopping, but we always stand around and talk. And then somebody suggested we should rename it to Noob Standing. Um, but
Yeah, well, at least it was standing somewhere. We could be standing somewhere a bit more interesting
we
than just this
okay.
area.
Let's walk and talk. Let's walk and talk. Let's walk.
Uh-oh.
And as we're walking, I want to say what you said. Just want to basically, if you look at Berlin in SL
Hey,
as a museum, or the model how to run it and finance it, it's almost as if you have a real life museum, and you are giving the people the option. Oops, how do I actually get into mouse look? Oh, I have to put the
sit
preferences
on a
on.
bench.
No, I have the wrong settings and preferences for mouse look. That's fine.
Uh.
Here we go.
No, Berlin is run as if it is a real city, a real neighborhood.
Right, but I'm saying for people who are new to this, people who have been under a rock and have never heard of Second Life or a virtual world concept, and who are in sort of historical museum spaces, they could see, if they look at a financing model or business model, they could say, look, instead of charging an entrance fee to the museum exhibit or whatever, you basically have a Patreon type thing where people can literally purchase. It's the equivalent of a plaque at the entrance, right?
Something
Like
like that. Yeah, that's the
it's
Verdun Museum has that. It has
it's something like that.
supporters.
You have the plaque, or the plaque on the bench. This bench was made
Yeah,
possible by Dragster. Sit on it, whatever.
yeah. That's why it's extra sturdy.
Uh,
No, but that's one of the things about the Verdun Museum. They have a little plaque at the entrance that says these are our supporters. And I went to the museum and I loved it, and then I became a supporter. But I
mhm.
would not pay to go there. But when I visited and I've been there, I said, "Wow, this is great. Here you go. Here's 1,000 lindens, or I don't
Right.
remember how much it
Okay.
was."
Okay. Well, then just to clarify, I didn't suggest to put it. Basically, I didn't suggest that putting anything like this behind a paywall would work. What you're saying is almost like what I'm doing with my favorite radio programs, podcasts, or political magazines.
Hmm.
I do support them once I get I get hooked, and then I basically subscribe to them, and then
Yeah,
but yeah, in the beginning, like my favorite podcast, The Majority Report, I can listen to it for free, and then they do have some other content, and now I'm a subscriber. So where are we right now? By the way, for people who are listening to this on the radio, they don't see us, but we're here at the Alexanderplatz. This is a new
yes.
building, Amtshaus.
No, that's not new. You just haven't been here in 5 years.
6 years.
What
Oh,
was it with Dr. Phil, I think?
with
That
Dr.
was here
Phil,
last.
yeah, Dr. Phil. But oh wow, cool. So this is the Amtshaus.
This is where I work. This is where people pay their rent, and these are the supporters
So we have
in
all these
gallery.
headshots here of the supporters.
Yes, these people pay extra just
They're on the
for
wall.
benefits, but mostly because they really love Berlin. And
Supporters gallery. Yeah.
here on the left, you see the long-term tenants, and these are people who have lived in Berlin for longer than a year.
Ah,
And as you can see, the top row here on the left,
long-term
those people have all
tenants.
lived here for over 9 years.
So we have in the top row, of course, Sonata Morales,
Yes.
Myron Byron. These are people that everybody should know. Uh, Dora Duchamp. I haven't seen her for a while.
Who?
Isn't
Dora?
it? Isn't Dora Duchamp?
Yeah, Dora. Yeah, oh no, she's very active here. She runs the newspaper.
Oh,
Quite a few events. Mr. Clarendon next to her, he owns
Mr.
quite a lot
Clarendon
of
owns a lot of property. I know.
yeah. But the second row, those people have all lived here for 8 years, and then the
Hmm.
row below that 7 years. And these are this is one of the things I'm almost most proud of. I mean, because it is really nice if you build a place, a community where people like to stay. But it is extraordinary to build a place where people feel so at home that they don't want to leave anymore. No
That
matter what you try.
you try to get them, or you try to get them arrested.
I'm rude to them. I call them drunks and perverts, and you know, their houses are often small and damp and dirty, but they don't want to go.
And here's also a map. Here's a map of. Is that an actual map that you
This
have
is
here?
a map sim, yes, but
Silver
not of.
Stadtplan.
Oh, yeah,
But this
that's
is
a,
this is the actual sim. I mean, this is your
yeah,
compressed Berlin. Is the
yes.
relationship between the different geographically between the different streets
It's
is that
it's rel it's
relatively accurate?
relatively based on the real thing. Here in the island
Hmm.
is in the middle. That's the museum Insel.
Hmm.
And it all sorts of makes sense, except of course that in real life it's all a lot bigger and
Hmm.
there's more. You know, you have to walk a lot longer to get from one spot to another. But people who have been to 1920s Berlin in Second Life, and who then later went to real Berlin, you know, said that that they almost knew the way, which is quite fun to hear.
Wow.
And they tried to visit. They went to visit the street they lived in the sim, and
Wow.
took
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
pictures. This is where I lived in 1929.
So here we have all the actually some of the other things that I haven't seen. I mean, the Hotel Adlon I've seen, but you also have the KaDeWe, which is Kaufhaus des
Yes,
Westens,
yes.
in
We have
English, the Mall of the West.
yeah, we
Um,
have the new opera house, and we have the Café Kranzler, which was extremely famous.
and is there still in the school? There used to be someone who was teaching the street kids on
Yes, we did.
Sundays or something like that.
Not at the moment because we're looking for a new teacher, but yeah, we still have the school, and
Was
we
she
still have we have more kids than ever before, I think.
was she
Yeah,
arrested
quite
by the
a pest.
communists?
I don't know. We just had the May riots, which were quite gruesome and scary. So
So yeah, tell me about some of the things that you reenact because this is a fascinating. You're reenacting some events and
yeah,
then is that like it's mapped out who plays whom and then you play that stuff? Oops, maybe the voice just died. So I gotta vamp a little bit. See if you and hear me. We're walking.
well,
Okay, here you are. You're back.
are you, oh, hello?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, yeah. When there's lots of loading, things go wrong. Okay. Yes, we reenact mostly small events like you know, like when someone famous in 1929 died. We are, you know, we are in mourning, things like that. But we also reenact big events like the May riots of 1929, which lasted 3 days and 33 people were killed by police in shootings, and that is quite extreme.
Those
That
were the May riots
the city is
in
literally turned into a war zone.
the May riots from 1929, right?
Yes, yeah.
And this was
And during
basically the
those,
emerging fascists versus
no, no, no,
communists.
no, it was the communists who wanted to march on May Day and celebrate, you know, their most important day. And the police said, "You're not allowed. It's too, you know, the city is too tense. We're not
Hmm.
going to allow it." And then people marched anyway, and the police got nervous, and shots were fired, and then suddenly there was a state of war for
Hmm.
3 days almost, with
This was actually
people
called
shooting.
the Blood May. I didn't even
Yeah,
remember this. The Blut
Blutmai.
May. Hmm.
Yeah, and 33 people, which most of them were shot on the first day. It was you know, machine guns, armed vehicles through the streets.
For the people in the podcast, we have a little bit
It
on and off
was
audio issues with
quite
packet loss as stuff
horrific.
loads, so no worries. It's all
Yeah, when
pretty
I
good.
that's because of my bad. Yeah, that's because of my bad internet.
Your
And
bad
when I
internet.
walking is not here actually. Yeah, when we start walking, things go wrong for me.
People
Where are
should
you?
actually I'm looking at the Bauhaus studio, by the way, because I walked
Asso.
straight by it, and this is quite fascinating. I just wanted to also add that folks should look up these riots, and I mean I recently read a book about the October Revolution in Russia, and these events are very much related. And the interesting thing is the Spartacus
Hmm.
uprising at the time, and the Spartacus was a movement that was decidedly more um, left than the Social Democrats liked it to be, and this is something that is very interesting up to this day. Many
Yeah.
people accuse the Social Democratic Party in Germany to be not complicit, but to have to be liable for the rise of Hitler because they were squashing the Spartacus Aufstand so heavy-handedly.
Well,
Um,
yeah, the
yeah,
problem was that the communists and the socialists were each other's enemies,
yeah, and
and the
that was the
socialists
wedge
were, yeah, the
exactly.
socialists were put in, they were in charge. They run the country at the time, and of course the socialists were very scared. They wanted to keep the power. They were scared to
The status
lose it.
quo, everything is fine. It's just like in the US right now. Joe Biden, come
Well,
on.
actually, yeah, but in 1929 that made sense because there were Nazis and communists in the street fighting, and
Uh,
there was things
yeah.
going wrong all over the world. So they didn't want to ruin things.
No, I
And the
understand why
commun
they I understand why they looked at it that way.
but
Absolutely. And it's easy for us to
the
say
annoying thing is, yeah,
in
and the
hindsight,
annoying
yeah,
thing is if the communists and the socialists in those years decided to,
to work together.
know, yeah, let's be friends for a couple of years, and then we
Exactly.
can go back to fighting each other, then the Nazis wouldn't have stood a chance.
Exactly. And again, I
But
mean, I
that's with everything.
but and we have to acknowledge that this is sort of the hindsight. It's always easier to
Yeah, and it
analyze
was,
these
of course, the first time socialists were in power here in Germany, so
right.
they didn't want to ruin that. They
Exactly.
had the opportunity to change things, to do something about poverty for the first time, and
Yep. In
they all,
within the legislative system, and they
yeah,
needed to have the goodwill of the population. They were, it's tough out there in the political realm. That's why
yeah,
I'm a
it's only
lefty on the that's a I'm a lefty on the outside and a Jack Bauer on the inside. If push comes to shove, I'm gonna bring out the Jack Bauer. No, wait. Sorry to interrupt, but I had the camera on. If you're watching this, if you're listening this, on the podcast. You don't see it, of course, but there are wonderful buildings here, the Bauhaus Studio and also the Apotheke, the apothecary. What is the English word for it? The
pocket
chemist,
theory. Yeah,
apothecary, apothe.
yeah,
Jesus, I can't pronounce it.
pocket theory.
Apothecary,
Oh, you foreigners.
So I'm zooming in here. This is just really cool. And so
Yeah, we're now in Dorotheenstrasse.
what Strasse are we in?
Dorotheenstrasse, also a real Berlin street.
Okay, here's das Musikhaus Volksstimme. Mhm.
Ja, genau.
So we're walking here im Gasthaus zum Biberkopf, Alas Kunstgalerie. And I used to rent here, and then I guess I was evicted because nobody likes a poor guy, especially not in 1920s Berlin. Very nice. And so you can still see here some posters, some actual posters that are rising in from the May riots durch Koalition zum Sozialismus. This is a poster from the KPD, the Communist Party, taped over posters of the Social Democrats. And here you can see the
You,
sort of a red Hulk hitting the capitalists, um, and saying that you vote for the KPD, the Communist Party. So Joe, let me know if you can hear me again. I think we're in the lag world. Meantime, I'm vamping here a little bit, describing the scenery. There is
I, I can hear you, but I don't think.
okay. I can hear you. I can hear you. Good. We're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Yep. It's just a little delay. So should we walk up
Yeah,
this
well,
street?
and here, yeah, yeah, no problem. Go to Unternehmen.
what happens in here, the Mietzegasse, if we walk in here through this Gasse? Is that where the Keller
Well,
is?
yes, you can go through narrow streets. We are now in the back streets of Berlin, working class area.
Mm-hmm.
And here on the right is the KPD headquarters.
Oh, the
This is where the
Kommunistische
parade.
Partei
Yeah,
Deutschlands. Where are the
yeah.
headquarters?
This is where over here.
So we're walking a back alley. It's decidedly dingy for sure. And here is the sign KPD, Deutschland, Elend und Not, Russland, Arbeit und Brot, which means Germany suffering and hardship, and in Russia there is
Yeah,
work and bread. And here is
yeah.
that's their
And
headquarters.
this is where the parade started on May Day.
Oh, I was just
Yes,
zooming into
it's
this
locked
fashion
now.
store
I
there.
think the police closed it up.
Ah, so I'm camming into the
Riots.
these posters are amazing here. You guys got to watch the stream if you're listening to the podcast. There's amazing posters of the Mai demonstration from 1929 from the
Yeah, and the leaflets on the floor as well, like.
Communist Party.
And all those slogans on the KPD building are all original. I
Mhm.
lifted those off old photos.
Mhm. Amazing. And so, do you have any? Do you have people role playing in a way consistently? Let's say a Communist Party official or someone like that who lives here
Yeah,
and who is just
absolutely,
always in
absolutely.
character. I remember there was one guy. One time there was an American student, a young guy who was active in the community here. I forgot his name. That was years ago. But that fascinated me. I think he did study history in college, and he was basically role playing different roles.
Yeah, I think we've got a few of those people, and we have people who are working class communists all year round, and
Hmm.
they usually get an alt for the riots because, how do you explain to everybody that you were shot and then alive again? And of course, there are also quite a few people who want to take part in the riots but do not want to roleplay a communists all year, so they just pretend for a couple of days.
I am a grammar Nazi. I don't know if I could role play one, but I can see here an issue. The word Freiheit is spelled with a D, not with a T.
Where?
Here on the KPD, on the Communist Party headquarters building up top, there is a slogan written with red.
Uh-huh.
On the
Yeah.
second floor, it says, "Für Freiheit, Arbeit, Brot kämpft nur die KPD," and that's without umlaut.
Yeah.
Freiheit is with
Then
T.
you have to complain to the communist who wrote that in 1929.
You know, I'm not sure. I
Because
was
that
very,
is
yeah.
because my German is not very good, so I literally lifted that letter for letter from an old photo.
That is awesome. You
So
know what? I was almost sympathetic with the communist cause right now, but now I can't join them. I was gonna join them, but no way. If you can't spell the word Freiheit, how are you gonna
you
achieve?
don't deserve it.
Well, how do you
If
exactly?
you can't spell it, you don't deserve it.
If you can't spell it right, you don't deserve it. That's right.
I think that's a good slogan for a party, actually. let's change our politics based on that. Okay, now let's see if this works. Go through this alleyway.
So we're going through
Are
an
you in
alleyway
world
here.
sounds on?
Yeah. It's good. So here's a narrow alleyway. This one here. We walk through it, and then we come out through the back door at the Keller, which is a Tanzlokal, and there is a little horse-drawn carriage with beer barrels, two horses. There is some clothing hanging outside to dry in clotheslines, and again the texturing is pretty incredible. I'm uh, uh, zooming into an apartment here where the wallpaper is just the wallpaper alone is pretty damn cool. I mean,
Did you
all
hear the whistle?
did I no, I didn't hear the
Did
whistle.
you hear the whistle?
No, I think I have my sounds muted because I'm recording the
Oh,
audio. What whistle?
but yeah, that's there's what if you go through the alleyway, you hear a whistle, and that's from a very famous German old film, old
Oh,
movie. The
oh.
little inside joke. One of the best films ever made. But I'm not going to tell you. You have to experience
Okay,
it.
I'll
And
go back there again.
I want to know I want to know if you know it.
Well, from that era, maybe I do know some films. Could be. Not in the last 30 years. But
Uh-huh.
oh, here is a knockoff Singer Nähmaschine, but it's a Kuro brand. Somebody didn't want to steal their logo. The textures here again, I mean, this is extraordinary. The peeled paint here at the exterior house, the wallpaper, um, a little, the wallpaper, which is obviously here moist in the corners. How do you do that stuff? How do you get the paint off here? The veneer is coming off the
They're
paint is chipped.
yeah, they're all custom made. They're all. I'm good with Photoshop.
Hmm.
But can you know, if I can't use textures like these and build buildings like these, I'm not interested. It's
Hmm.
that simple.
Hmm.
And one of the things I really like about Mesh and Berlin, and even if I say so myself, is that tenants can change their wallpaper. So many
Ah.
of these people have sent me old wallpaper samples, and then I put it on the walls.
Hmm. Wow.
But also little details. You see that little awning above the door, that wooden
Yeah.
thing above the
Yeah.
door here to the apartments. One of the boards has come loose.
There's a bunch of boards
You
that
see
here
that?
in this awning, yeah, over the main entrance, and one of the wooden boards has come loose. Yeah, I mean it's
I
incredible.
love that.
Yeah, yeah. And here, if you
And
peek
this is where I
inside,
live, by the way. You
oh,
see the gate, the room above the gate.
let's go inside.
Okay.
Who lives here
Let's,
oh, wait, you don't live here in number one. Who lives here in this? Oh, can we actually go into rooms?
no, those are private. Door's locked.
Ah, well, I can cam in because I have a space navigator.
I have no idea what that means. But you can't go in. You can spy, but you can't go in.
Yeah,
Or the police will come.
I'm camming inside one of the apartments down here. I mean, this is just incredible. This
And
I
that, yeah,
yeah.
that's what I love as well. That people are not forced to decorate their home 1920s. They can decorate it modern if they want, as long as they keep the curtains closed. But pretty much everyone who lives here goes completely in the full immersion, and I love that so much.
Yep.
Every time I see a home that's historically decorated so well with details, I go, yes, brilliant.
This is
But
what
you
I'm
have to be
camming in
careful
here
where you
right.
can, because some of the tenants like rather risky art, if you know what I mean.
Mm, art. I understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, this one that I'm camming in here, this is incredibly detailed apartment. You know what? I do want to wrap it at the top of the hour. So instead of going into your room, let's keep going out of these small little um,
Okay. Let's
alleyways
go to Unter den Linden.
unter den Linden. That means under the Linden Labs. Interesting that the Linden Lab had a hand in Berlin. Where are you going? Is it not here? I'm walking over here and I'm walking back outside towards.
Like,
Unter den Linden is the big sort of promenade that leads to the Brandenburg Gate. Yeah.
yeah,
A-
I'm on my way. I'm suffering.
And then underneath, and I'm right now right next to the Brandenburg Gate.
Suffering the lag.
The Brandenburg Gate then leads to Tiergarten on the other side, which Joe said earlier is a homestead. And yeah, this is just pretty magnificent. What can I say? I'm camming around a little bit. Here's the Hotel Adlon, which in fact is right there.
Here I
And how do you deal with
am.
the lighting here? This is um this is a light that I think enhances the feeling. It's a little bit muted with colors. It's a little grayish. It's overcast. It's foggy. Actually, I gotta make sure that I have the correct region wind light. Let
Yeah,
me check that.
it's a glory. That's what it's called.
Ah, and I
It's a
was
very nice wind light. It
and all this time as I'm
it
talking, I
it
was
it
actually
it,
not
it,
in the
it
correct wind light.
changed to morning glory.
I just morning
And the
glory.
great thing about the great thing about it is that it somehow suggests like there are shadows. I don't know how, but even for people on low-end computers with bad internet who can't have shadows turned on all the time, somehow this seems to suggest shadow. I don't know how, but it's really beautiful.
I have the region settings right now. It's very bright. I mean, I didn't yesterday when I was here.
Are
It
you
was
sure you've got the right then? Let
well,
me
I just
see.
set it to region settings.
World region.
So I'm going to the settings, use region settings, always use parcel region settings, and
What?
the sun just rotated around as the settings were set here in Firestorm. And now here we go. There you go, because this is how I recall it. Yep.
Oh, right.
It's overcast
Yeah.
and the sun is kind of is trying to get through the clouds. And here is the KaDeWe, which I haven't seen. Oh, here is a pavilion here in the middle between the road, between the
Yeah,
street
we're
where
now
the
in the middle
streetcar goes.
of Linden.
We're in the middle of Unter den Linden today. There's a lot of kebab sales people. I
Yep.
guess you don't
I,
have
I, I,
those.
I I know, and I've never even had one in real life.
You never had a kebab in real life.
Kebab.
Kebab, sorry, yeah. Some of these buildings here,
No.
there's the Kranzler, that's a famous building. Is that a conditor, right? A bakery for desserts. And Joe is struggling with her internet
And
connection.
uh, on your right, you see the KaDeWe. Yeah. Hello.
I'm camming over.
Hello.
Yeah. I'm here.
Oh dear. 10-4.
So
Okay.
here is the
Well, the Kranzler building
KaDeWe.
is the newest building in Berlin. Yeah, Kranzler building was finished only a couple of weeks ago, and it's a restaurant and downstairs some sort of coffee bar salon, for cake as well.
Mhm.
And the KaDeWe is a famous department store, and it was very difficult to recreate that because I had to use old photos. Both the Kranzler and KaDeWe were completely changed after the war, so that was pretty tricky.
Right, the
Or
KaDeWe is
destroyed.
still open today.
Yeah, but there's only 2 or 3 walls of the current building that look like they did in the 1920s.
Hmm.
So I had to use the texture of those.
This is amazing.
And
The KaDeWe is awesome. And then you have
it is really nice.
it seems like
And
there's full stores in there. I mean, there's this the candy store.
yeah, it's a big department store. And next to Kranzler, you have the new Berlin Opera House, which is
Ah,
also brand new.
okay. And are there events in the opera house, or how do you use those? I mean, in the
Yes,
here's the
yes.
opera house. Yeah.
It's
Wow.
not yet. I mean, it's only also just a month old or so, or maybe 2 months.
We should go
But
there.
yeah, we're planning shows. You go, I'll stay, otherwise my sound goes again.
Okay, I'm gonna walk over to the opera house. And this, what church is this here that I'm walking towards?
That is one of the oldest buildings in Berlin, and it's really, really ugly, and it should be replaced soon.
Wow, says you, a historic person that doesn't want to have anything replaced.
No, it should be replaced by a better looking church.
And the Zeppelin is going overhead. I mean, this is amazing. So I'm walking towards the Opera House, and I'm going up here. There's these magnificent columns, and here's a big door, statues. Uh, Absolutely amazing. Oh, I could have
Yeah, and
gone into the downstairs as well, I guess, but
well, that's the public entrance. That's where the normal people visit. The
oh,
door upstairs is for royals and dignitaries, and
that's where I was
that
going.
goes. Yeah, that goes to a very stunning hall, a massive room.
It didn't open for me, so I'm gonna walk through the
Oh, you're
servants'
not allowed,
entrance.
but you can come.
Okay, I'm gonna cam upstairs. I thought it would and here's the interior of the hall with paintings on the ceiling.
hmm And
Uh,
these are all based on old photos that I had to look for. I spent weeks finding them. They were very difficult to find because this building too was dramatically changed after the war.
this is just really amazing. I mean, people really don't know about I mean, by people, I say people on the outside, they are not aware that what is possible here in Second Life. And now I'm
And
camming
if you
inside. Yeah,
uh, if you go to the main auditorium and you cam upstairs above the stage, you can see the actual walkways for the lightmen and all the people who work in the theater. It's a functioning theater. There are dressing rooms below the stage. It's all there.
well, you can
Even
really do
though,
immersive theater because, as you know, I mean, some
yeah,
of the other places in Second Life they closed down. I'm not sure the Globe Theater. I think maybe that sim is still there, but so I'm
I don't
camming
think so.
around here. I'm camming
We
on.
have one in Time Portal though. We have the globe in Time Portal now.
Uh, I'm
Oh.
camming on the stage so people can see the stage here. There's a few sets here on the stage. This is amazing. Like the sets, basically the backdrops of a medieval castle here. These set pieces are great. They're just and
They're
here's
cool, aren't they?
some waves. The set pieces I'm describing for the radio. Basically, they're painted on cardboard, I get wood, and then just pushed into the scene when the curtain was down, and so they changed those scenes there easily with backdrops that were just sort of propped up pieces of wood. Yeah. Wow, this theater is amazing. I wonder if I sit, if I, if I, s- uh, I got into the theater.
And there's, there's a big part.
You're, go ahead.
Well,
You
it's
you
just
were
open to the
breaking up.
public.
Start over. Start over, Joe. It was breaking up a little bit, and now I'm in the theater with my face light, so it's nice and bright.
It's open to the
Should be.
public.
Go
Yeah,
ahead, Joe.
there are lots of details in that building. There are a lot of details in that building.
hmm And so you were
And
saying upstairs. I'm camming up. The walkways are across the
above the
stage,
stage.
above the stage, so people were able to, or stage hands were able to lower things and grab things
Yeah.
and retrieve them and lower them down quickly in terms of the set pieces.
There's an entire orchestra there. Have you seen the
I
orchestra?
I'm camming down to the orchestra. Yeah, this is great. There's an
And
orchestra of little mannequins.
and
There's
there are dressing rooms as well.
yeah. So this is behind. I'm camming behind here. There's a staircase that goes further down, one level below. I guess that's where the dressing rooms are. It seems a little bit of a labyrinth here
Yeah, like
downstairs.
it would have been in real life.
Wow. And is this building in still in Berlin, or was it destroyed in the
Yes,
war? Or?
It's still there. It was badly damaged during the war, and it was heavily renovated afterwards in East German style.
It
But
was
it
in the
looks,
eastern part.
but
Okay, I didn't even know. I'm
but
completely
today
oblivious.
it looks quite nice. And when I started the building, I thought I can just use modern day photos and make it like it looks now, because it was very well renovated. But then I discovered that it changed dramatically during the war and after the war. So I had to do a lot of research and dig into archives to find pictures of what it looked like before the Nazis took over, because they redesigned a few things. So it was quite a chore, and but luckily now it sort of looks a little bit like it used to.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So when is the actual 10th anniversary of Berlin? What is the day or the range of dates? Is it on the
Uh,
31st?
uh, the 30th, I think. Let me look it up. Because we start every year with a dance on Unter den Linden, and that's on the day of the anniversary, and that's the 30th of May. And then we have a week long of events and parties and all that sort of thing. And Wednesday the 5th, we have our famous, grid-wide famous or infamous Relaxed Rules Day. And then from noon onwards, or just about, 1 or 2-ish, we're going to relax our dress code. And that means anyone can visit Berlin, if it doesn't matter if they're human, wearing jeans or hot pants or be hippies. Quite a few of the local Berliners enjoy setting up a 1970s disco because they know how much I hate it.
They put orange
Bastards.
all over the place. They open an ING branch with orange.
Yeah, everybody goes crazy for a day, but they also bring their friends who are furries or who don't like to change their clothes, and people who've never been here, and that day we say everyone's welcome, and quite a few of the houses will also open their doors so you can have a look around. It's
Cool.
it's an open day. So if you really are curious about 1920s Berlin, but you really don't like being a human avatar or dressing 1920s, that is your one day a year that you're welcome.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, we'll summarize that. Well, congratulations, Joe, for
Thank you.
a vibrant community, and as you had stated at the top of the hour, your advice to the showrunners of some of the next generation immersive virtual worlds is, how make it easy for people to build, so people create content.
Make
Still,
make it easy. Make it easy for people to make their dreams come true.
actually, I have one concrete question because we went to
What?
the other model that I've heard floated about from some of the other virtual world new businesses, the startups, whatever. We
Uh-huh.
visited a bunch of them. We visited Somnium Space and Decentraland. These are very different models. I don't want to rehash what their plans are, but one thing that they have in common is, especially the guys from Somnium Space, they are banking on they feel the biggest problem of
Mm-hmm.
Second Life and other worlds is that land. There's too much land and too little people, meaning because there's so much land and so many places, it is basically inflation, and that's why nobody's ever there. And so,
Uh,
but that makes sense. I mean, it does make sense. It's true that when you have a lot of land, and in Sansar land, of course, is free, so it's very
yeah.
different from here, that everybody and their grandmother are going to build experiences that are on offer. And then when somebody comes in, the likelihood that they bump into people randomly is very, very slim, as
Well,
opposed to a model where you only have one main piece of virtual land and it's limited in its geography, right? And
well,
so, yeah.
that is true, but it's not just about people visiting, it's about people staying. And if you have
Yep.
1,000 experiences that are all boring,
Yep.
It doesn't matter if there are 1,000 or 1,000,000. I mean, look at Hollywood. They make God knows how many films every year,
And
but
they're all
only a couple of
garbage.
them. No, they make a few nice ones. Only a few get millions of viewers. I have Berlin mostly happens in one region, which is why it feels a little bit more busier. But compared to real Berlin, it's still deserted.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you have 1,000 experiences, but only one is good or fun or interesting, then that's the one people are going to revisit. It's not about visiting; it's about revisiting.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's easy
I
to
agree
make.
with you. Yep.
If you make something that sounds interesting, people are going to go. And they're going to go, and maybe there's only one person there, but it's a shitty experiences, so they go away again, and they never return.
Right. So in
If
your
you
mind,
make
it's
something that
that's the whole thing with what I also have a problem with is a very short-term thinking. And I understand if you need to get the numbers up quickly, then you are subscribing to this short-term thinking, but it's to the
yeah,
detriment of the long-term thinking and the long game of creating retention. And retention is something that is harder to obtain. You can always
it's
get a
quality
burst.
versus quantity, the
Yeah,
age-old
that's
problem.
true.
And
Yep.
but that's how it works in Second Life as well. Of course, it's deserted. Of course, there's lots of land where nobody ever comes. But if you find one that works, then people start complaining that it's always full, it's always busy.
This is like the Germans when it's like, oh, it's always cold, and then in the summer, when finally the sun comes, like, it's always hot.
Yeah,
Jesus.
but that's it's not that simple by saying there is too much land. The problem is that if people can completely recreate their imagination, their place, something they like to hang out, and they can put their love and passion into it, then other visitors can feel that, and then they enjoy hanging out there. And does if there are 100 or 1,000,000 experiences that are all brilliant and all fantastic and all fun, yeah, then you have a problem with everyone being spread out too much. But it's never going to happen.
Well,
There's always going.
I also think that we should be, or I mean, I have the luxury to not be under the type of pressure as opposed to a CEO of a virtual world making platform such as Linden Lab or any other company. They are under much more
Of course.
pressure to deliver the goods. But I would say let's be, and I think Ebba expressed some similar sentiment in various interviews, is that they have cumulatively so many different, they serve so many different interests that
Yeah,
cumulatively it might be just a few people
of
here and
course.
there, but in aggregate it's pretty darn big. So I think that's another
Yeah.
thing, right?
No, but
Because
I
it's not the 80s
but
anymore where you sell, I mean, I guess a friend of mine who's in the music business would disagree. He said, well, there are still big hits that sell millions, but also there's a lot more niche, and those niche all added up together add to something
yeah,
quite
of
significant. And I
course.
actually like that world much better because it's just a little bit more colorful. Yeah.
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but the problem is that that is of course true, but even a beautiful, wonderful place, when you're there always alone, eventually you sort of lose interest.
Yeah.
If it was just me in Berlin, regardless of the financial aspect, eventually I'd be okay, now what?
Yeah.
So other people being there is important, and I think that's why also the destination guide in Second Life and something like that for Sansar, or also for other virtual worlds, is so important, because then you can steer new visitors to those places that are exceptional, and which means that the odds of there being other people are also higher.
So somebody
So
needs to
that way,
curate
new.
this. Somebody
Yes,
needs
exactly.
yeah.
If I was in charge of Sansar, I would grab every new visitor and say, you should go to one of those places because they are the best. And if every visitor did that, their first experience would be a nice place, a good-looking experience, and there would be other people there because it's the destination guide. It's where everyone goes, and that's how it works for Second Life as well.
Yeah.
Places in the destination guide, especially the picks. When the moderator picks a few, you notice there being more traffic. really works. People actually go to places that Linden Lab suggests or
No
Alien
doubt,
Base
and I would
suggests.
actually say in Sensor, I was going to say they're actually doing a good job at the loading page or the atlas.
Yeah,
There's the
absolutely.
featured events, so they're
I
learning
think
it.
they should use it even more.
Yeah,
In Second Life as well, they should be shoving it down the throats of every new user. Go there! It's the best! It's fun! It's where people are! And once you've been there, you can go to all the weird places and all the other ones, and then you'll find something that's even more fun for you in particular.
yeah.
But
It,
it can make such a huge difference between your first experience being a wonderful looking and fun sim with interesting people,
yeah, I guess I
or
mean yeah, exactly, or like
accidentally ending up in some sort of portal room where there's nobody and it hasn't been changed in 2008.
so yes, and that's what they need to kind of bump up a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is a huge job curating this.
In short, they should just give me a job. That's it.
Well, I think,
I'll fix everything.
well, you should maybe
And I'll bring stroke baffles.
you should cold call them or offer, for example, an additional somebody who just basically constantly cleans up the I hear some music here. Constantly cleans up the destination guide because I mean
I think they've got someone like that, although
well,
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
they do. Oh, they do. They have community manager Ziola, who is doing a fabulous job, but she is working around the clock on multiple things. I
Yeah,
think
she's.
they should hire a couple more people because,
Well,
as
they
you
used
know,
to
and we
have
don't have
one Linden just for the destination guide,
well, they do. I
I
work with
think.
that particular Linden. They have he's managing a larger team and has increased responsibilities. This is a manpower thing. There needs to be more people.
Yeah, they
It.
should. I'll
How do I get out
volunteer
of
as
here?
a volunteer for money. Let's put it there.
Yeah,
If they change my tier to 0, I'll do that job. No problem. We'll make a deal.
because the problem is that is such an uphill battle as you had suggested, and we talked off the air, and I'm not going to name any particular names, but there are a
Mm-hmm.
few sims
That
listed in the
really don't belong
destination
there.
guide that are terrible, and it's just an oversight because you got to constantly sort of curate that and constantly check if what's
Yeah.
are they still current or what's even happening and
Yeah, I've seen Sims on the destination guide that were there 10 years ago when I first joined Second Life that were great,
mhm.
that are still there that are not great anymore. Yeah, it needs a bit of tweaking, I'd say. But I repeat what I say, it is the best tool Linden Lab has to bring people to Second Life and to keep them in Second Life, and they should use it even more. It's really brilliant.
And here is where we're gonna cut the show, end the show with me saying that the good thing is that they have me doing a weekly destination guide video, maybe
Yes.
even two. And if you have something, if you're listening to this, and if
Then
you have
why
something that is
aren't
really
this
great,
yet?
what?
Why aren't those videos you make, which I love, not embedded in the destination guide?
That is a very good question because I think that that would require possibly a redesign of the
Yeah,
website.
yeah.
No, I mean,
They need to do that anyway.
okay, that is somewhat true. That is a true statement. That is a statement
And
with
all the
truth
likes
content.
vanished. What happened there? All the Facebook likes vanished from the destination
I
guide, and then
have
they
no
were
idea.
reset to 0. It's shocking. Anyway. I had all my aunties and grandmothers and vote for it, and now it's gone.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge undertaking. You're absolutely right. They should be embedded. Should be popping up the videos if a video is available. Um, maybe they're working on this. I don't know.
Yeah, no, they had this other thing as well, but that's gone short of quiet. The places pages.
Nobody really. That is functional.
No, it's
Is it not?
no, they got very far, and then it looked pretty decent, but there were still a lot of things that needed improving and changing, and then it sort of died down.
So you were able to create. I really love that you were able to create your own page of your
Yeah,
sim,
yeah.
and you could
Great
actually
idea.
embed a stream in it. I remember I
Yeah,
experimented with sort
video.
of a live camera that was on all the time, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that was embedded in that page. And then this way, you could have basically you're promoting your own page within the secondlife.com framework.
Yeah.
Um, this is something that, as far as I know, was not really used. I mean, it's one of those things.
Well, it started. It's one of those projects where they start and it looks good, and then all of a sudden it feels like they lose interest.
I think
And
they
there's a bunch of people who are trying it and saying we like it, but this needs to change and this needs to change for it to be perfect, and then silence.
But Joe, the problem with the complexity of this operation is that probably there were not enough people saying we like it, let's do something. So Linden Lab decided we can't put in the work, the hours, the resources of our engineers to optimize this for like five
Yeah, but
people.
I'm sure, but when they've already put so much work into
I
making
agree.
it as it was, it would not have been that much more work to make it more functional,
Yeah,
and then more people would have used it. You know,
yeah,
it's a vicious circle.
yeah.
If you don't make it user friendly, people are not going to use it. So not a lot of people are going to use it. So you're not going to make it user friendly.
Exactly. And then you have the proof that nobody's using it, so you're going to abandon it.
Yeah, then they probably should have just said that, because there's still people
Well.
waiting.
Well,
That's the way it goes.
waiting is the hardest part. Okay, Joe, we gotta go. It's time. It's way over time, and
Roger that.
again, we'll post it at the blog. And wonderful Berlin, and just awesome. Yeah, maybe I'll rent again. I don't know.
Well, you're sorry, but there's nothing available.
But come on, I'm a celebrity. I want a hotel in the Hotel Adlon in the penthouse.
You can't afford that. That's 200 linens a night.
Oh
You
my
can't afford
God,
It's the
Jesus.
Hotel Adlon. It's got room service, pretty
Ah.
mates.
Oy.
Oh.
All right. I'm coming into the Hotel Adlon here. Wow, this looks pretty good.
Yeah, there's a party there tonight. New fashion show.
Oh.
Sonata Morales. I think she's showing her new collection. If I'm not mistaken, I may be wrong. I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll look at you sent me the timing. We're taping this on Friday. Maybe I'll come in and grab footage for the destination guide.
It is Friday.
Well, it is Friday, I know, but we're taping it on Friday, but the audio will be released on Monday, so it's in the future. You see?
Yeah, whatever. Everything's in the future for me.
Did I tell you that I'm the Flash?
What?
You know who the Flash is?
No.
It's a superhero.
God, don't be so American.
You don't like superhero movies? I thought you was just talking about
Oh.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't
we're
like
getting off a
superhero
tangent. We gotta go. People are
Yes.
not interested in
Stop it.
superheroes. Vic Forcella says here on Twitter, he says
Hey,
1920s
Vic.
Berlin on Sansa, the future. Ah,
Yeah, it's the future. One day, couple of years, maybe
Well.
maybe another decade.
happy
At least.
birthday to Berlin. Okay, have a great week. Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Auf
Auf
Wiedersehen.
Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Auf
Wo
Wiedersehen.
die Blumen sind, wo sind sie geblieben?
And that concludes our live stream. And I know on Twitter it says this was from Sansa, but it was not from Sansa. It was, of course, from Second Life. I can't change that. I can't change it, unfortunately. But yeah, pretty awesome 1920s Berlin. This will be on the podcast on Monday. And the official celebrations are starting on the 30th. Goodbye.
Die ganze Welt ist himmelblau, wenn ich in deine Augen schau. Und ich frag dabei, bist auch du so treu wie das Blau deiner Augen. Ein Blick nur in dein Angesicht und rings umblüht vergisst mein Licht, ja die ganze Welt.
Bum.